today. Past couple weeks we have been working mount attacks. So we worked on Kimura trapping, we worked on S-mount, we worked on some different escapes. Today we're going to work on a few simple chokes from mount and a few transitions that I like. That's going to allow us to start setting up our backpack series and working some back attacks leading up to ADCCs and a couple of the fights we have coming up. All good stuff to have in the repertoire in the up and coming. So I'm here, Mr. Hackett's being safe, he's doing the home alone defense, right? He's keeping his hands tight to his face, his elbows in. All of that's gonna make my life a lot more difficult, right? So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put my palm flat right on James's chest, right? All I'm gonna look to do is slide that hand up and into the mat. Because all I'm looking to do is just kind of scoop the back of his head. As I get here, I'm gonna look to post his elbow, and all I need to do is get his elbow above my shoulder. Here. As we're here, guys, I'm gonna look to drive my hips, chest, and back forward, here. As I do that, I wanna sink this arm as deep as I can. I want it to reach all the way through for that armpit. So I'm here, I slide that hand up, here, reaching across. Now, once we're here, we're gonna have a variety of options. First one we're gonna do is just our standard head and arm choke, right? So I'm here, I'm gonna give him a good thumbs up to JJ. My other hand's gonna come on the outside, grabbing my palm, and I'm gonna look to squeeze, cross my heels under the butt, and pinch. Now, one of the big mistakes I see a lot of people make on the head and arm choke or on the arm truck, they try to drive all their weight through the top of their chin. So they're here, and everyone tries to go here. Guys, all you're doing is driving all your pressure into his chin, not into his neck. That may be uncomfortable, but that's not gonna make me tap past decent white belts. So, when I get here, my squeeze should be downward and in. So my arm is squeezing in and down. That way I'm getting carotid, hopefully on both sides, but at least air in carotid. Like we discussed, 3 pieces of a choke. Good choke has 2 pieces, great choke has all 3. So I get here, boom, get my hand through. I like to just cross my heels under the butt. Some people will go to the grapevine technique. I don't like it. It is not as effective, in my opinion. Here, I'm gonna set my hand, squeeze, and you should feel a pretty immediate, hey, the panic wiggle that we talk about all the time. Like when a choke sets in, they don't give you that little bit of a panic wiggle after a couple seconds. Your choke's probably not in, you need to adjust something. So when I get here, boom, I come to this side. Let's say I get here, and my choke's just not as good on this side, right? James is gonna work to defend a little, and it's just not working. A couple things we can do. One, you can re-bite down on this. So I can drop my hips back, drive back in to make sure I'm underneath that chin. The other thing you can do is using your top hand. You should have had a V8. I'm gonna look to bring my hand to the top of that head, pull that chin up, and make sure I'm underneath. Once I get there, squeeze. Should be there. So those are gonna help you with some of the common you're not in deep yet. Questions on this in the initial?
You kind of stretch them out with your legs or not?
No, not as much, because when I'm here, guys, that's a pretty common one that you'll see. Like, I get to this choke, and a lot of guys will be like, I need to stretch. The problem is it drives all your weight forward, which once again ends up with the pressure being here, not here. So that's why when I'm trying to do a choke, my goal is to compress down and in. Think about it kind of like a boa constrictor, right? Their goal isn't to stretch their prey out, right? It's to tighten and wind everything up and in. Same concept when we're working chokes. We're always trying to tighten everything in and compress that space as much as possible. So when I'm here, I'm just keeping everything tight and keeping my hips tight. That way he can't bump and roll and do all sorts of unfriendly things to me. Boom, I get here, squeeze. All right? Other questions on this, guys? All right, one more time. I'm here, I'm working. Boom, I get my hand flat on James's chest. I get here, drop my hand, my arm behind. I get here, I drive up to get into position, cross my feet, thumb up, squeeze. All right, so next piece of the equation here. We get here, boom, I get here, and for whatever reason, it's not working, right? Dozen of different reasons. Some guys are tough, some guys are dumb, some guys are both. Sometimes they're strong, sometimes you just don't have it locked, right? So you get here and you're just like, man, I don't want to burn my arms up, but I also don't want to dismount just yet, right? Sometimes that's not the right move. So all we're going to do is instead of keeping our hands here, our outside hand, we're going to do all the same things to get here, right? So we're here, we're working, boom. I slip that hand up, I slide behind that arm, I get the arm up, right? All we're going to do is instead of keeping this hand pinched through and punching here, this hand's just going to cup his arm or as far across as I can get it. Ideal world, you reach all the way across, right? Some of us are blessed with short limbs. You may not be able to get all the way across it. But, you know, life's tough, sorry. But get whatever you can across, right? I can dig and bury that arm as deep as I can. Our outside hand, all we're gonna look to do is I'm gonna look to bring this hand in front of his face and inside his neck. As soon as that hand slips in, which for me, I'm generally gonna go blade in, and as soon as it crosses his throat, I go fist. Just hard to see that with all of the jumbled mess that is already up here, right? So I'm working here, I'm gonna slip this hand in, fist in. The second that hand comes in, this hand sneaks from here to in. As soon as it's in, all we're going to do is look to collapse everything down. I'm punching through his throat, squeezing my biceps together. So without all the jumbled arm mess in front of me, right? This hand sneaks behind, grabs onto the back of that bicep, or back of that armpit. This hand, I sneak in, make a fist. As soon as that fist is made, I weave my hands. I'm then going to smash the hand down, squeeze the elbows in, right? What that's going to do is, my bicep on this outside should be cutting off here. My hand on the top should be crushing his throat. My forearm on the other side should be cutting off the blood on the outside. And it should, in general, suck. So, all sorts of fun. Right? So I get here, boom, boom. Hand comes through and here. As soon as that happens, all I'm going to look to do is just feed this hand right up onto my bicep. As soon as that happens, this hand comes down, everything else squeezes. So from this side, I'm here, boom, grabbing through. This hand comes in, squeeze, there. Questions on this? Whole lot of suck if they don't feel like tapping. And this is one of those ones that just hurts. You're gonna be like, oh, it's kind of a neck crank, and it's like, yeah, it kind of is. It's not always going to be a perfect choke, but it's a whole lot of suck in a choking motion, which is legal in most terms. And guys, we're going to be doing some tough physical stuff coming up. We got guerrilla warfare, what, in 2 weeks? We got ADCCs in 5. We got fights galore coming down the pipeline. We're going to be doing some stuff, a little more physical. Questions on this one? All right, one more time. I'm here, I'm working. James is staying defensively tight. I don't appreciate that because I appreciate easy submissions. Boom, hand comes over. Boom, here. I get my arm behind, my chest and arm behind. We get here, I squeeze for a second, and it's just not working, right? Sometimes it's just not. Boom, you're gonna dig that hand as tight as you can. Sneak this arm in, weave the hands, squeeze. All right, choke each other. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm here. Things are going well. We're doing stuff. Boom, I get here, right? Let's say I get here and I try to squeeze. It's not really working. And for whatever reason, I'm just not confident in my ability to get my hand in. Sometimes they're defending well. Sometimes I'm just not good at it. Sometimes you're wearing gloves, and this one's really hard with gloves just because of the spacing. You punch people in the face like savages. It's uncivilized, you shouldn't do it. But you get here, and it's just not working, right? So what we're going to do next is dismount and go for the gorilla choke. So I'm here. I always want to dismount to the side I'm choking on. So I'm here, Couple things I'm going to do first though. I'm going to give myself just a half scoot up to make sure I don't end up in half. As soon as I do that, I'm going to pull my heel straight to my butt, windshield wiper across, and step out. That way I have a good base here. No point in my compromising my base or my top control. As we get here, this knee is going to slide off and then up. I want my knee in line with his shoulder. As we do that, all we're going to do is turn our hips across. Boom, so that you're here. As soon as you're there, all you're going to do is go to a rear naked choke grip, and this hand's going to come in front here. You then take a deep breath and squeeze. The rotary leg choke. Nice part with this one is, if you're applying light pressure through the entire setup of this, they just run out of things by the time the final squeeze happens. So we're here, I'm working, I'm doing things, boom, get here, right? I'm trying things, but it's not working. It's gonna happen sometimes. Boom, give yourself just a half a scoop and pick that heel up. As soon as that heel comes up, you push your base out, knee comes off and up. You then turn Dewey up to the side a little bit, bring that knee so that your bottom knee, guys, is right in line with his shoulder. Your top knee should be right at the crown of his head, right where Dewey's bald spot's gonna come in here in about a year. All right? So we get here, here. As soon as that gets here, grab your own bicep, hand in front, chin in the eye socket if needed for unpleasantness, big squeeze, and you're there. Questions on this one, guys? Like I said, most of you guys have seen the gorilla choke in other variations, but the nice part with this chain is you're choking throughout and you should be able to find something, JJ. So as far as when you get them to their side, you got to set them. I want him truly on his side, so I'm going to do the other side here. So boom, when I get here, guys, I don't care how short-armed you are. When I get here, and I slide up, I'm setting Dewey all the way onto his side. If your arm can't reach here, it's because you nubbed it off at some point. I don't know what else to tell you. Your hand should have pretty free reign to get here. You know, Nick Newell's has an excuse, you don't. It's terrible, but it's true. But you get here. Once you get here, guys, then it's just a good squeeze. But if you're having trouble with that reach, you're probably leaving him too flat, which is then making it like you're trying to arm triangle with that rear naked choke grip. I have to set him up to that side and turn that ankle. I'm teed off to him, or held off here. I'm not parallel with him. I'm perpendicular for the smart people in the room with me. Yes, great.
Great job.
Great job. Me and my college dropout, right? So, if I stay parallel with him, it's going to be very hard because the angles and the geometry and the math doesn't work, right? That's, science, right? Quick maths says that's going to make that distance and that angle harder for me. But the second I get him onto his side, I'm perpendicular off here, going to make the angles in my trajectory a little bit better, which is then going to allow the choke to be tighter, regardless if you work forward landing. Clay, you can hit this on Jeremy, I have no doubt. It's not because he's better, he's just better looking. But Danny's my Call of Duty partner, so I do play favorites. Questions on this, guys? All right, choke each other. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, so I'm here. Boom, I'm doing things to doing. I get here. And for whatever reason, I'm just not happy with my ability to choke him, right? Like sometimes you'll get here and like guys just are tough to choke. I'm really tough to hit in most chokes, except the guillotine at certain places. So you get here and it's just not working, right? Like sometimes it just doesn't work. Guys are tough. Guys find just enough of a pocket to get their chin in there and they'll just ride it out, right? So when we get here, I'm you don't want to run your head into the wall the entire time. Sometimes you can adjust, sometimes we need to go a different direction. So when I get here, all we're going to look to do, guys, is boom, I have him turned on his side already. We're just going to help him out and take his back. So I will at this point abandon my grip here and just post down. Once we're there, this leg's going to step up. Now I'm going to just put my knee across here. I'm going to slide behind him and pull him on top. It's going to allow me to then set my hooks. Start to take his back. Then you can do new chokes and new attacks. Because the nice part is if you keep this grip, you can then come and do other things from behind. So we're here. Boom, I get the choke, I'm trying things. It's not working. Boom, I'm going to put my shin right across his hip bone. I'm going to tuck my foot right behind his back here. I'm going to pull him up, slide my other knee around. My goal is to be my hips right behind his hips. As soon as we get here, feet in, get your grips. Now, what grips you want is all dependent on your game. Worst case scenario, all you want is your back seatbelt grip. One hand on the chest, one hand under an arm. Just a good solid grip. Because next week we're going to start with backpack drills and attacking from behind. Questions on this? Like I said, Dewey's here. We're working on stuff. I'm trying to choke them. It's not working. It's not working. Okay. This shin comes across. Pull him up. Look to take him back. And then Kabate Jiu-Jitsu, you smack him right in the ear. Alright? 1, 2, 3.